Imagine this. Death has a vendetta against you and your family and is willing to hunt every single member down until there's no one left.
What's that smell? That's Final Destination's Bloodlines stinking up all outside.
Spoiler alert for this entire movie. If you want to watch it, you probably should go watch it and then watch this. Or just watch this and you'll get kind of an overview.
Save your money.
Save your money because it wasn't that good. We open with a young Iris and Paul in a Chevy Nova on their way to attend the grand opening of the Skyview Tower. When they arrive, it's almost apparent immediately that Iris has a fear of heights. She looks up at this massive tower and gets a little wobbly about the knees. On their way up in the elevator, this little shit stain of a kid decides he wants to start jumping and needs a good smacking. But he does later on. More on that later. When we're at the top of the tower, we already start to see little premonitions of what is to come. We see a dude cracking some sort of flan type dish, definitely frozen. Iris looks down at the dance floor, noticing that it's all glass. What? Why? Why would you need an all glass dance floor? I get there's a slight novelty, but there's no real reason for that. Around this time in the movie, we learn that Iris is actually pregnant from a R.I.P. Tony Todd, his mother in the movie. We don't know, it's just some little boy right now, but let me just say, love Tony Todd. And this little mug fuglio right here is Tony Todd. Paul then takes Iris up to the very tippity top of the tower and decides this is now the time to propose to Iris. Over in the corner, we see the little boy, little stain from before, throwing coins off of the tower, which could, everybody have seen the Mythbusters episode, definitely kill somebody. A security guard walks up to the boy and goes, "Hey dude, stop that." Well, the little being the little decides, I'm not gonna stop that. I'm going to keep throwing coins, and one kind of does a little jujitsu backflip-a-roo flip into the vent, which I'm actually a little bit kerfuffled about what happens next. It gets lodged in sort of like some gas canister, so everybody's busting it down on the glass dance floor to Shout by Little Richard. Literally jumping. Why are you jumping on this glass dance floor? That's beyond me, but all right. All of a sudden, disaster strikes.
The bottom drops out. Everybody just kind of starts falling. Iris and Paul were kind of stuck there on that little thing, and she's kind of standing above him, and he's holding onto this shard of glass with his hands, and as you can imagine, Paul literally falls and kind of hits the side of the shit. He does a little like this type thing, and he's a wrap. Okay, not that I'm laughing at it, bless everybody's heart, and bless Paul's heart. That's when we see the penny ignite, and then there's a big explosion and sort of kind of blows the side of the building, and it kind of is hanging on the side like that. And then there's a big grand piano, and there's a lady kind of like wobbly about it. She's wobbly about it. And she's like, please don't let this motherfucking piano. Please don't let this motherfucking piano fall on my motherfucking face. She doesn't say that, but she says it with her eyes. The piano does eventually slide down and smash through the lady and the side of the building and everybody who was hanging on that glassy area. But then Iris somehow goes and sees him in the cabinet and then grabs him. She is now like just trying to get out. Got little Tony on her hip. Little Tony, they trying to get out. As an aside, you think that little fucker got away who caused most of this shit. As he's running around and gets to the out and he's doing the victory lap, the piano that had fallen smashes him. The building somehow collapses or breaks to where she's now for some reason hanging on the side of the building. Tony on her ass, right? And her ring finger, where she had just gotten proposed to, it was a little tight and it's caught between these two nails. Her finger rips off. Next thing you know, her and little Tony are hurtling towards her death, and she is right into some type of a thing, right? That gets her right through the gullet. Oh, I got my earring. But then...
We now follow Stephanie Reyes, a college student who has been having reoccurring nightmares about this 1968 disaster. She wakes up in the middle of class, distraught from her nightmare, and decides, okay, let me get some rest. She's with her friend when she has the nightmare again. Her friend describes to her, hey, I'll kill you if you don't go home and try to figure out why exactly you're having this nightmare about your grandmother named Iris, who may or may not, we don't know at this point in the movie, has been in this disaster. Let me go home, consult the family, and see if anybody has any more information. At this point in the movie, we meet the father, Marty, who's kind of a beta cuck who survives the whole movie. And the little brother, Charlie, who is a little upset that his sister has returned home because to him, she's just kind of gone MIA for no apparent reason. Marty tells Stephanie, well, I don't really know much about Iris, but maybe Uncle Howard would. He lives a couple blocks down. Go ask him because maybe they have, photo books and things that would make a lot of sense. They get to the cousin's house. Charlie and Stephanie are a little estranged. We meet Uncle Howard, who is the child of Iris all those years ago. But now, all he says is, oh, my mom is freaking crazy. She's bonkers out the yoinky. She can't do anything but tell us how death is going to come and get us. What is that all about? So we dipped as soon as we possibly could. Howard isn't with telling her anything. Hey, let's just leave it alone. My mom was nuts. That's about it. But the wife being like, oh, okay, I don't know. She kind of looks like Jennifer Coolidge. Your uncle would kill me if you looked in the bottom drawer. She looks in the bottom drawer, gets information about Grandma Iris, and goes out to her dangerous-ass cabin where Iris has been a little sketchy.
She supposedly has been hiding out in this fortress that she created for the last 20 years. I'd like to know, which is a valid question, how does she get her food? How does she get her medicine? Because we find out that even though she's come up with a way to protect herself, she sort of has this book that she's put together over all these years of how to know when death is on her ass. In fact, there's even a scene in there where Death sort of moves the magnifying glass and it cuts to the rope that's sort of burning a little bit. And she's like, oh, I got you, motherfucker. Stephanie goes in there and she's like, hey, Iris, I'm having these dreams and I need to know what the fact's going on here. And she starts talking her talk, which is real, but Stephanie thinks she's crazy at this point. And so Stephanie's like, you know what? Uncle Howard was right. This is a bad idea. I'm going to get the hell out of here. She walks out to her car. All the while she's trying to get Stephanie to take this book because it gives her the inside workings of death so that she can kind of carry on the craziness at this point is what everybody thinks. And Iris is like, how can I get this bitch to believe what I am saying? All right, Death? Fine. Stephanie, hold up. You want proof? Literally 2 seconds later, because all Death was doing was waiting for her to step outside. The second she did, Death did its little quick inner workings. Next thing you know, she has a thing through. She has a thing. Stephanie is painted with Iris's blood.
Cut to the entire family at Iris's funeral. The mom now pulls up in a dilapidated RV, haven't been seen in years, pissing Stephanie off quite bad. How could she have done this, she thought. She left when we were young. And then Charlie, the little brother, brings up a good point. Well, you went ghost, just like Mom went ghost. So what's the difference here? Which causes her to be like, are you serious, Charlie? We have Final Destination on our ass. Do you really want to do this now? At the funeral? The family decides, all right, let's just blow off a little steam, have ourselves a little barbecue. Death does his thing. I believe a rake falls over, a hose expands. They were a little light. The thing about Final Destination is it has to be relatable. I didn't really relate very much to a lot of the things in this movie. Special effects were good, but I thought as a fan of Final Destination, they could have done more, especially with the storyline presented. Originally, it was going to be paramedics and firefighters and that line of work, which I think would have been more interesting to follow, but they decided to scrap it and go with the Bloodlines idea. Anyhow, we're at the barbecue. A shard of glass falls into a drink and makes the audience think, oh man, who's about to be drinking glass? Tall cup of ouchie. But honestly, that's just a fake out. I think somebody even ends up spilling the drink, and Uncle Howard, being proficient at backflipping on trampolines, decides to get up on the trampoline, do a couple of jumps, but oh no, there's a rake underneath the fucking trampoline. What? Why is there a rake here? Who did that? Tell whoever did that they're fired. You left the fucking rake underneath where we jump? Stephanie is at home reading the book, being all sad about Iris, but also like, oh man, this book is making a lot of sense. Stephanie pulls up to Uncle Howard's, Uncle Howie, you're gonna die. She doesn't say, you're gonna die, Uncle Howie. Howard going, oh, Stephanie, it's so nice to see ya. He steps off of the trampoline, and then really kind of a gross scene. He steps on the shard of glass from before, and he goes, oh, that shit hurts, ow, but it's fine. I'm okay. He trips backwards. Hey, I promise I'm all right, guys. A lawnmower from before goes and kappas his detated all over the back of his skull. He goes, is it still okay, Uncle Howie? Is it still okay? Cut to another funeral. What the heckin' schmeck is happening? 2 deaths is a little weird, not necessarily a Final Destination, still weird. So now we go back to the house. Stephanie is fully convinced at this point. Guys, we have got to do something because now every single one of you is next. Everybody in the family is going to die now that Iris is dead and now that Uncle Howie is dead. So Stephanie, thinking she's all right and smart about Final Destination, oh, I figured out everything, says Eric is next and he is gonna be on Death's hit list next and we have to protect this guy. He's like, oh, Death, I don't give a hell about Death. Why would anybody care about Death? I'm gonna go mourn my dad, respectfully, obviously, and go to my tattoo shop, tattoo my dad's name on my arm, still fine. There's a whole tattoo shop fiasco where his nose ring gets caught in the ceiling fan. The reason why I'm not going to go into this is because this entire sequence, bullshit. Why is it bullshit? Because it's literally in the movie to be a teaser. It was one of the first things to come out about Final Destination's Bloodlines, kind of like a teaser trailer, and is only in the movie to look cool. Just know, this scene is in the movie to look cool. It looks cool. It looks dope. I hate to burst your bubble, but this motherfucker survives. He ends up walking up, I got a cool scar next to my dad tattoo, and I survived because I wore a leather jacket. It was a kind of a frustrating scene. He should have died there. It was a cool scene. Loved the dude. He should have died there. Now Stephanie's tweaking. They're walking down the street. They're like, oh, maybe these kids could kick this ball and it could hit you in the head and you could do a backflip into the garbage can and then the garbage can will fucking explode. She was tweaking and Eric's all like, you're tweaking. I don't care. They end up back in front of the house, the original cousin's house, where Julia walks out and goes, man, Stephanie, you're like totally crazy. I'm going for a jog. She goes off, starts jogging off into the distance. Eric goes, you're fucking lame, Stephanie. All of a sudden,
hey, yo, what the fuck?
In a random twist of events, somebody kicks a soccer ball hard enough to knock this girl into a trash can that at that split second happened to be getting picked up and thrown into a dumpster. And they're like, oh shit, and Okay, first of all, this movie's weak. And this is the reason why you can tell my tone is like this, okay? The trash guy was too busy rocking out to Kelly Clarkson and looking at girls on Tinder or something to hear the people say, hey, my sister's back there. What the fuck? Slow the fuck down, stop. So him and Charlie, the little brother, go running after the truck. She ran first and jumped on the truck. Somehow gets on top of this truck and grabs Julia and tries to help her out of the trash compactor. As this thing is slowly closing in on her, we have her still holding on to Julia as her head's getting smushed in between the trash compactor. Stephanie reaches up to just be holding her arm. Stephanie is kerfluffled because Eric should have been dead and Julia was actually next. So then she goes back to the family conversation pit to be like, no, we really need to discuss what's happening here. Stephanie's like, all right, here's the actual book. This is what is going on. According to what Iris said, she was able to help me see the shit that Howard was getting ready to encounter with the glass and the lawnmower to the face and all that. So we're going to go ahead and see that this one survivor that she mentioned in the book, initials JB, happens to be the person that we need to go talk to next. The supposed bombshell, which they didn't do anything with after we heard, I guess it might have just been some comedic relief, which because the pacing of the movie was off, the comedic relief didn't land the way that it should have either, I think. Eric's mom, the tattoo parlor guy, says that she was busy fucking the neighbor. That's his real dad. So technically, another reason why it's BS is because Eric, much like Marty, who is the beta cuckold, is not related, so he doesn't have any reason to be. He's not technically in that bloodline, and Howard's not his real dad. One of the cousins realizes that he's next, and so they all hop in the mom's RV and head to the hospital so that they can find this JB, which we find out it's Tony Todd.
In the hospital, John Bloodworth tells the family, look, you can either die or kill to beat death. There's one other person that beat death, which is named Kimberly from Final Destination 2, I want to say. Where's Kimberly? If she's still alive, we need to be talking to her if I'm being completely honest. R.I.P. Tony, by the way. One of the great movie legends of all time. Eric and the other cousin, I forget his name right now, decide to take it upon himself and say, we're going to kill you with your peanut allergy. And then, since we're in a hospital, we'll just bring you back. It's okay. We'll put you down the hall, and it'll be fine. We'll just kill you real quick. So they have a little machine where they're vending all types of delicious food items. They get themselves a little peanut butter cup. It gets stopped in the machine. They shake it, shake it, even decide to tip it over a little bit at one point. And it's like, dude, what the fuck are you doing? Are you not in the middle of a hospital? They finally get the snack, take it to an MRI room, eats it. Nothing happens at first. In fact, he thinks this is delicious. These two, they're only in the movie for comedic relief. That's really all it is. This whole scene, comedic relief. He starts getting a peanut allergy, starts really reacting. Peanuts! He starts peanutting all out, and they don't see that the MRI in the back has turned on. It's now getting higher. You know Death. He likes to turn things up abnormally high. Everything in the hospital that's metal starts getting attracted to the door. Just crazy, pulling to it and everything. And Eric, who's a little alternative baddie, decides that he has nipple rings. He decides that. He goes, hey, you know what? I have the nipple rings today. He puts on his nipple rings. He puts on his wee-wee ring. We're not going to talk about down there, but he has one of them too. But the wee-wee ring ends up getting attracted to the MRI machine. And he's like, well, this really sucks, because it starts pulling it out of his pants and his nipples. The wheelchair that's in there that the cousin was sitting in ends up getting attracted to his back, and then the little poles go right through his little stomach, and he goes, The other cousin, he's on the floor dying of anaphylactic shock when a nurse opens the door. Oh my God, what's going on in here? What the hell? Why is this kid on the floor going into anaphylactic shock and this other dude in an MRI chamber dying from MRIs? The kid gets up, he does get the EpiPen, and he gets himself and he goes, I'm fine. She goes, oh, is everything all right? He goes, dude, I'm okay. Everything's gonna be all right. right through the head. The spiral from the vending machine across the hall that they were messing with goes directly into his optic stems and middle chakra right here. Just so that's 2 deaths down, and now we're left with the Mama, the Stephanie, and the Charlie. These 3, they're like, okay, well, death's coming for us, and we're next. So the best mode of action is to all pile into the same RV and go on the highway and go to Iris's dangerous-ass cabin because, look, she survived there, so how could that not be a good idea? Oh, well, I have an idea because you, and you are next. By the way, at this point in the movie, we don't really see Marty until the end, and the mom, I think she just totally disappears. After the, oh, I cheated and fucked the neighbor type beat, she gets ushered off to the void. We never see her again. So they pile into this RV, head to Iris's cabin, no accidents or anything on the way. Death's taking a little sabbatical right now. This is locked. Iris isn't here, she's dead. They're probably foreclosing on the place or whatever. This is all locked. So let's just ram through because Death's about to make a move, says Stephanie. And Death does make a move. As soon as they get in, my seatbelt's stuck. Stephanie, why is your seatbelt stuck? It wasn't stuck. Whatever. You just now find that out. She's like, okay, just get to the cabin, and everything will be fine. So Charlie and the mom, they get out. All of a sudden, Death's like, you know what? I'll make my schmoove right about now. Explodes the house. The van flips. Stephanie, remember her seatbelt snafu, is trapped underneath the water, which of a nearby puddle. The mom, she's scarred but still alive, and Charlie, he's trapped underneath some house wreckage. The mom, in like a heroic moment, saves Charlie at the last second and is like, I got you, son. I got you so much. All I'm gonna do right now is try to survive as long as I can. Wham! She gets smashed almost immediately. Not in the good way. Charlie decides, okay, well, shit. Me and Stephanie are next. Really Stephanie and then me, so let me go save Stephanie just so I'm not next on the roster. Charlie goes, tries to unbuckle Stephanie, and gets her out of the RV at the last second. But it looks like she's dead. She's laying lifeless on the ground. And all of a sudden, you saved me! And now I'm not next on Death's list. So then, apparently, everything's fine. Jump to the very end. This is like a month or 2 later. Charlie is going to prom with his little boo thing. And Stephanie's there to see him off. She's fixing his coat and he's like, oh, you look totally handsome. His girlfriend's dad walks up and is like, well, you know, you didn't die. Like, well, yeah. Technically, he didn't die. If he was able to save you from chest compressions, you didn't die. And she's like, what? That's totally Final Destination. Oh, the red Nova from before, which is a callback to Final Destination 1, Carter's car. The coin that the little shit from before in 1968, Iris saved that coin and put it in the little Final Destination book. I would buy that, a Final Destination book. That would be kind of cool. The coin falls, rolls out, and gets lodged in a nearby train track. Right as Stephanie's having her little, oh man, we're still in it. Then the train comes through, knocks into the coin. Look, the coin gets lodged in the tracks, and the tracks are off center, which causes this horrific train crash. But it's still bullshit. It's like, really? This coin did it? Well, whatever. The train crashes, and it ends with a little homage to the second one, where the logs come off and squish them and turn everybody into red mist. And boom. That's the end of Final Destination Bloodlines. Here's the thing, Bloodlines. No. Okay? All right?
That's pretty much the recap of the movie. I thought it was pretty disjointed, and I thought now that looking back on it, especially doing commentary, we were a little bit more tuned in, that the cues they tried to do were a little too subtle. They didn't mention anybody in the first movie, which just really didn't make us care about these people very much. I thought the casting was a little bit off. I thought everybody did a wonderful job acting, but I think that they would have been better in different vehicles. And that's just my opinion. Literally 2, 3, and 1 are my favorite ones. Overall, as a fan of the movie, no. It's gonna be a no for me, dog, for sure.
Thank you guys for watching the Final Destination movie review. Remember to like and subscribe. Comment down below your favorite Final Destination death. Have you ever been Final Destinationed on? Hopefully not. Are you watching this video? Don't give it to me. What the fuck? Get out of here. Mika the Traveling Tarot. All of her links in the bio. Make sure to follow her. She does tarot and future related things and is amazing just kind of generally. So like and subscribe. Don't make me Final Destination your ass. I'm Infamous Puppy saying deuces.